Clank Rift Apart is the latest in the Ratchet and Clank series, and a PS5 exclusive, this time dealing a heaping portion of multi-dimensional mayhem. Dr. Nefarious, once again living up to his name, has torn open rifts to alternate dimensions, because he's a sore loser.
We're going to a dimension where I always win, so you can finally know how it feels.
So it's up to our heroes to put a stopper in his plans before total multi-dimensional collapse. No pressure.
Yeah, anyone who's seen Doctor Who can tell you, do not mess with the multiverse. Ever. But the good news is, we not only get to play in some crazy, awesome-looking new environments, but we also get to meet two new playable characters in the series.
Hey, I'm Rivet.
Rivet and Kit. These two are dimensional counterparts of Ratchet and Clank, but come from a dimension ruled over by Emperor Nefarious. I love how different they feel from our usual heroes. They aren't just alternate versions, they're their own people.
Pretty sure you're me, after all.
Wait, what makes you so sure you're not me?
And I'm not just saying that because I'm a little obsessed with Rivet.
No, I agree. They're both really cool characters. In terms of actual gameplay, though, they play the same way as Ratchet and Clank do, which was a bit of a shame. I hoped they'd have some unique moves to separate them that little bit more, but I do like how Rivet just yeets her hammer Thor style. I thought that was pretty nifty.
There is a lot going on in combat, though, so I like that more streamlined focus. All the weapons and upgrades carry over between Ratchet and Rivet, regardless of who you're playing, so you can just focus on perfecting those insanely tight attacks. In a tough fight, you'll be swapping out weapons on the fly, while jumping out of the way of enemy fire, pulling yourself through rifts, and trying very desperately not to stay in one place for too long. It's absolute chaos sometimes, but also deeply satisfying.
I dare say there is sometimes too much going on, but the combat is still ridiculously good. And I think a lot of that juiciness comes from the fun variety of weapons you can acquire. With such a good range of options on hand, you're always equipped to tackle whatever comes your way. There's the up-close and personal supercharged blasts of the Enforcer, or the missile-launching Warmonger for that sweet long-range devastation. But there's also some defense-style weapons to give you those much-needed moments of respite, such as the Droid Repulsor and the Topiary Sprinkler that plants enemies in their place. I had my favorites, but ammo is a little bit scarce, so you have to change things up and try new tactics if you want to survive. And that kept things feeling fresh.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not normally one to leave my comfort zone once I found a tactic that works. But here, I was going ham on everything I could get my hands on.
There are so many cool effects. You can see why this is only on the newer, beefier PS5, because it looks like an animated film.
Oh yeah, this game is stunning. Throughout the campaign, you'll be making pit stops all over the galaxy, and each location feels entirely different, with its own flora, fauna, and destructibles. Let me tell you, photo mode was getting quite the workout in my house.
I would also like to put in a formal request that all games from now on contain hover shoes. I don't care what genre it is, I want hover shoes. Zipping around the open deserts and stinky swamplands, launching yourself off ramps and across chasms. It just makes exploring so much more enjoyable. Final thoughts, Jem?
I think this could very well be my game of the year already, Rad. I loved it.
What is this? Some kind of secret handshake? Hey!
The story is a treat. The characters are a joy to play alongside, and I cannot get enough of that space-hopping, ratchet-throwing, gun-blazing action. I'm giving Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart 5 out of 5 rubber chickens.
In a word, I am wowed. Wow-weed, if you will. I had so much fun. There's a great sense of flow both in and out of combat that had me glued to my controller. And the worlds are so detailed, they'll keep you exploring for all the hidden treats. I'm also giving it 5 out of 5 rubber chickens. Hey, you know with that button of Darren's, I bet we could whip up some hover shoes, you know, like pull them in from another dimension?
Did you not hear me when I said don't mess with the multiverse ever?
Yeah, but hover shoes!
You're right. You make an excellent point.
Alright guys, it's time to team up with that lovable Lombax and his reliable robot in Ratchet and Clank.
Oh, Ratchet and Clank. So many robots. So many lasers. Pew, 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 pew.
Two more ships.
Those saucers are about to attack. Use your Omni Wrench.
Mr. Zircon, welcome Jericho of Submarine.
The Ratchet and Clank series has been around since 2002, offering up one of the best mixes of action, platforming, and puzzle solving in the business.
Yes, and it's actually a reimagining of the very first game. It tells the origin story of how Ratchet and Clank become friends, and their first adventure together to try and stop the nefarious Blagian Empire.
So, what do I call you? I suppose my proper designation is Warbot Defect B54296. Maybe I'll just call you Clank.
The Blargs have grown sick of their own polluted and overpopulated planet, and are invading other planets to try and steal their best bits to make their own ideal world. And it's up to our dynamic duo to stop them.
And while it is essentially the same plot as the first game, it's told in a completely new way with some significant differences that we won't spoil. Yeah, overall, it's just an excellent story with great heroes to root for and villains to jeer at. But they've struck a great balance between giving fans something new to enjoy while keeping it familiar enough to hit that nostalgia too.
Affirmative. And this has actually been made in conjunction with the new film, with both film and game sharing character models, world designs, and story.
Yes, and I think that collaboration has really helped this shine visually.
Lock and load, Rangers. Sit up and rally in the aft airlock. All right, team. Let's bring it in. Remember, our target is Chairman Drek.
The quality of the cutscenes rival most cinematic animated films. And the in-game graphics are almost as good too.
I had to stop and admire the view on every single planet. There's so much attention to detail. Guys, this is a seriously good-looking game.
Rise and shine, Kizzle Plateau. It's 8 a.m. and it's gonna be a hot one today.
Yeah, and it's just so good to see Ratchet and Clank going back to their roots. You know, we were a bit underwhelmed by some of their last few games, which focused on co-op or tower defense, for example. And it was starting to feel like the series had lost its way. But this is classic Ratchet and Clank doing what they do best.
Affirmative. While the series' signature excellent level design and platforming is in great form here, it's always been the weapons that are the real stars of the show. Apart from the robots, of course. And this is a bit of a best-of collection for the series when it comes to the arsenal, bringing in many of the best weapons from all their games, such as the ever-chatty robotic companion, Mr. Zircon.
Hello, stinky aliens.
Or the boogylicious Groovatron. Boogie, boogie,
Boogie,
boogie,
boogie, boogie, boogie, boogie. My favorite new weapon was the Pixelizer, which turns enemies into giant clumps of pixels, complete with retro sound effects. And check out how fast it clears this room. Super effective.
I'm surprised you didn't say the Sheepinator Barjo. It turns enemies into exploding sheep. I mean, that's awesome.
This is also a sort of best-of in other ways too, incorporating many of the mechanics and refinements the series has made over the years, such as strafing, and a deep upgrade system for your weapons. Throughout levels, you'll find chunks of raritanium, which can be spent on weapons perks such as extra damage or larger area of effects. And there are even special mystery nodes that grant you mysterious but awesome bonuses.
And as you use a weapon, you'll also level it up, which opens up even more upgrade options. And once you max out a weapon's level, it transforms into a super powerful version.
With any luck, my engineer friend will be there.
Yeah, even the basic blaster or combustor turns into a powerhouse of a weapon when it becomes the Magma Buster. The only slight downside is that there are almost too many weapons to choose from. You just won't have enough time or raritanium to max out and play with everything.
Well, once you finish the game, you could run through the whole game again in challenge mode with all of your weapons and upgrades unlocked from the start. So that'll give you plenty of time to play with any weapons you didn't use much or upgrade on your first run through.
Oh, affirmative. And with loads of collectibles you likely missed the first time round, there's some good motivation to play through challenge mode and collect everything. Hidden gold bolts, for example, can unlock special filters and cosmetic items, and even cheats. And there's also a new collectible card feature, which gives you various bonuses when you complete them, or even the powerful and rare Rhino.
Yeah, they've really nailed that drive to collect things, which is a sign of a great platformer. Even just smashing crates to get bolts is so satisfying.
Affirmative. Another thing this game excels at is pacing. The pace at which you find new weapons and special gear, explore new planets, or fly in spaceships, or race hoverboards, or ride on grind rails. There's just always something new and exciting to play with.
Yeah, it's hard to put down, isn't it? Although I do feel like Clank is a little bit underused as a sidekick. He's mostly just a way for Ratchet to double jump. He just needs a few attacks of his own or something to make him feel like a bigger part of the action.
Well, he does have his own special sections where he has to go off on his own and has to solve puzzles by reprogramming other robots. And any section of a game which is all about robots gets bonus points in my book. But I wholeheartedly agree that Clank should get a bigger role. In fact, if anything, he should be the main hero. It should be Clank and Ratchet. Or maybe even Clank and Darren. Oh, what to call it? Or maybe 48 Noobs. Or Lethal Noob. Or Noob Hour. Or Double Noob. Oh, so much potential.
I would play all of those games, Darren. But we should wrap this up. Final thoughts, Hex?
You know what, guys? I think this might be one of the greatest platformers of all time. I'm giving it 5 out of 5 rubber chickens.
Yeah, it's masterfully designed, isn't it? They've taken the best of old school platforming and brought it into the modern day. I'm giving it 4.5 out of 5 rubber chickens.